Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning from another very busy day here in Zakinthos. As you'll notice, all the cat litter trays are outside on the table. The reason for that is we're getting ready to do a blitz of the lounge. That's the job I hate, actually, blitzing the lounge. But it has to be done. We do it every month. Take everything out, clean it. So we started this morning by taking out the cat litter trays, getting them out on parade, ready to pull everything else out the lounge, ready to do a mega clean. But in the process, I must report to you the news of what's going on and also the weather here on the beautiful island of Zakinthos as we count down, getting ready for the opening of Magdalena's on Saturday night. And as you can see, the weather today is absolutely glorious. You might have noticed a lot more traffic on the roads as well. There is a feeling of optimism and excitement in some circles because obviously things, you know, are starting to move ahead. Anyway, just quick referral to the lovely Amanda. Thank you for your weather forecast this morning. She said, morning, Ginge. Tuesday's weather temperature is climbing, sunny and very warm. Remember to hydrate. That's what she says, with water or wine or even beer. She also said that it's going to be a high today of 29, although it's going to feel more like 33. She says, enjoy the day. Amanda also told me as well she had their first hotel guests are going to arrive where she's working on the 10th of June, and they're actually German. They're going to be staying for 3 days, but it's also been reportedly quite busy up in Ali Canaz with German and Dutch tourists. Anyway, she says hopefully the English, they will be coming next. And just to let you know that today's arrivals, yeah, we're expecting one TUI flight in today. And that is basically a flight which is coming in from Brussels. So there you go. The Belgiques are here. So anyway, that is all that's expected to arrive. Right, let's have a quick look at the coronavirus in the last 24 hours. There has been an increase in infection rates, as I said, because it was the weekend and it was Sunday, where there was only 877 reported. That number has gone up. To 1,381 were recorded yesterday across the country. New cases being identified after checks into the country. 4 new cases were identified, so that's down slightly from the day before where it was 6. Now, when it comes to new cases, actually on the islands of the Ionian, there was 1 new case reported in Macardo. There was 1 new case reported in Kefalonia. Corfu had 16 new cases, and we had 2 new cases reported here on the national statistics. However, locally, no reports of anything new occurring, but just some confirmation that the situation regarding positive cases and the suspension or closing of or suspension of departments in primary and secondary schools was under control. It was said that in the last few days there's been a total of 7 cases that have been identified at primary and secondary schools, and 6 departments have also been closed in schools across the country, across the island. More specifically, the primary school at the 4th grade in Musaki. Also, that is closed now until the 28th of May, while the same applies to the 6th primary school and the C2 class and the 5th primary school, and only part of a class in a total in one other primary school of the 5th, okay, that has had 4 students that have been tested positive for coronavirus. So anyway, at the moment, the figure stands at 32 cases for the month of May here on Zakinthos. When it comes to deaths, unfortunately, deaths across the country, that has crept up as well. Reported to you 38 deaths yesterday. Today, it's 50 new deaths have been reported across the country. Again, our condolences to those families affected. That brings the death toll since the pandemic started to 11,822. Again, the average age of people passing away has been 79 years of age, and the 96.6% of those people have had underlying health conditions or problems and were over the age of 70. When it comes to the ICUs at the moment, their number, actually, believe it or not, is down, which is good news. We did report to you the other day, it was 569 people in incubation across Greece. At the moment, that number has dropped slightly to 563. 345 of those are male, and 218 of those are female. Again, the average age of those people in ICUs is around about 68 years of age, and 83% of those have underlying health conditions or are over the age of 70. Right, today's news then, interesting news actually. A lot of the news this morning actually is from Zakinthos. So anyway, this week the Greek Secretary General of Primary Health, Marcus Thrialakis, during a recent briefing of the Ministry of Health on the vaccination appointments, he announced the islands with the smallest participation in the Operation Freedom. That's the code name being given to the vaccination program here in Greece. And he also started to name islands that have not been registering for appointments and have not been taking part in the vaccination process as hurriedly as what they would like. Anyway, guess who the 5 names are? First of all, the islands are as follows: Zakinthos, Kefalonia, Lesbos, Lemos and Samos. They are the islands with the least amount of people that are taking up the vaccination, while other islands, which are designated with 100% coverage at the moment, with people taking appointments, believe it or not, are Samalia, Kos, Peros, Rhodes, Mykonos, Naxos, Chichos, Ageria and Corfu. Of all those islands are the ones that have been basically rushing to get the vaccination. Anyway, local MP, Zakinthos MP Dionis Akpis, commented on the development and noted that Zakinthos there are vaccinations and appointments available, while, as it is known, the hospital is already being strengthened with 2 extra lines of Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The General Secretary, he said, speaks with the details and refers to an issue, and that I remind you that we had mentioned earlier when there were reactions to the delay of AstraZeneca, and we explained that there was no response that we would like from Zakynthos for the vaccinations. Basically, he's harking back to the time when the vaccination was appointments couldn't be fulfilled because basically we didn't have the vaccine at one point. And I do remember the MP banging the drum and obviously trying to get a vaccine to the island. But again, we were more at the mercy of the chain of command delivering it than actually administering it. Although it now seems that this might be on the turn. Anyway, he also said, but I must say that the situation has changed and the picture has improved a lot. It's characteristic that in one day we had 600 vaccinations on our island, he said, among other things. I'm reading this obviously from the Greek reporting. Anyway, a call for vaccinations at the time available. Appointments was addressed. Speaking on Hermes, he said, Doctor and physician Peter Dragnas noted that the risk of coronavirus has not been eliminated and we should not rest. The virus is still among us and showing us its teeth. A vaccination should be promoted and the vaccine is the only light in the tunnel, at least for the time being. The self-test should be done with a sense of responsibility while we still have to observe the measures with the mask and the distancing. He also stressed for the vaccination, stated that in June, on the initiative of the Medical Association, a mobile unit will operate vaccinations with the assistance of physicians on our island. We can relax, but not the virus. We should not have setbacks. This will push us into a difficult situation in the fall or even earlier. So basically what they're saying is that they just basically want people to go and get vaccinated. Again, your choice. If you want it, have it. If you don't want it, don't have it. Again, if you're working with the public, again, pressure is obviously going to be brought to bear that those people working with the public are going to have the vaccine at some point, although it'll be subtly worded in such a way the government won't impede on it. It'll be private practice that will actually want it. But at the end of the day, if you're testing twice a week, which you can do yourselves, and you're honest in your testing, I don't think you should have any fear. And also, just remember this, everybody supposedly coming on holiday is either supposed to be vaccinated or tested. So like last year, there was no real issue with people bringing the virus in from outside. At the moment, we're having a bit of a heat wave here, and that should be killing the virus with the heat. So therefore, it's a bit of a stalemate, really, isn't it? Yes, we'll wait and see what happens in September or in October at the end of the season, or even maybe November the season may end, and we'll see if there's a rise again. I think, to be honest, this is the new norm now. If you want the vaccine, have it. I'm not stopping you from having it. It's your choice, your decision, your body. If you don't want it, that's up to you. But we can still test twice a week if we have to. At the moment, there have been results and issues about problems with the vaccine, especially here in Greece and especially on the island of Crete. And again, those are still being investigated and looked into. But at the end of the day, it should be your choice and remain your choice. Anyway, another bit of good news then, and thank you to Amanda for dropping me to this meet early this morning. There's been a series of project proposals for the Municipality of Zakynthos, which were approved on Tuesday morning by the Economic Committee. And these proposals and the financial programme looks like maybe these could go ahead if it happens. All right. Once again, these are just proposals. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. But again, it's about improvement of quality of life here on the island. Now, it seems that for the revitalisation in the municipal unit of Artemis, this is the area where we live in at the moment. Basically, Amanda says they're going to be putting, hopefully, a sports centre in her location. Anyway, the proposal was put forward for a sports centre to be built in the Flatilis area. This would include a soccer field, an indoor basketball court, and also a swimming pool. Now, a budget has been set at around about 3 million euros. The Urban Revitalisation Municipal Unit is actually in the process of looking into the feasibility of actually going ahead with this project. However, also another project in the same location is a creation for an animal shelter for strays. Now, a budget of 800,000 euros has been assigned for that. However, I think the mayor at the moment is emphasising that at the moment this project is probably more important than building a sports area up in Filiolis. Anyway, the mayor insisted on this issue, emphasising that the problem there is serious with animal welfare, etc., and also that there are complaints from animal welfare organisations that not enough is being done in the way of pushing forward for a proper municipality animal shelter. All the animal shelters at the moment are private animal shelters. And he also said that the other reason that this is important that this goes ahead is that under the new legislation that is actually being proposed at the moment and going through the parliament for ownership of animals, there are fines that can be imposed either on people who've had issues with animals, or even the municipality themselves, where the fact that because they haven't got the locations to take animals into care to be looked after, they may actually find themselves being fined by the government for obviously not following through with the legislation. So again, interesting position there. I'd be curious to see what people feels about that. Do you think it's more important to build a sports field, a soccer sportsing area with a swimming pool, or is it more important to build proper municipality animal shelters? Again, interesting issue, and we'll see how that progresses and if that actually does go anywhere. Anyway, just to let you know that this Thursday, if you're in town and you start seeing fire coming from the hills around the location of the fort on top of the hill at Bohali, it seems that the Fire Brigade this year are going to be doing one of their annual test of drills, and this is going to be a practice drill for putting out a fire on the side of Bohali Hill. Once again, this is to bring the fire crews up to standard, getting ready for the summer season. Also remembered as well, they have been recruiting lots of auxiliary firemen who are going to help increase the numbers of the local firemen. And of course, Zakinthos traditionally, shall we say, does have a bit of an issue with fires in the summer. And also as well, the fire chief wants to exercise his troops basically in the position where the municipality has been told of the dangers of fire in that location. The fire chief has also asked for the areas to be cleared of foliage and debris. Some of that has been done, that has to be said. And basically they want to do a practice scenario to see that their guys will be able to fight the fire as necessary, and approaches that they need to take to get to the fire or any fires that may break out in that area. Those approaches have been cleared, which is the responsibility of the municipality, so that their vehicles and their personnel can actually get to that location as well. And don't worry, they won't be actually setting fire to the side of the hill. You'll probably see lots of orange smoke pots being fired off to simulate fire. They won't actually physically be setting fire to practice. However, you never know, things might get a bit out of control, but we will wait and see. But anyway, so look out for that on Thursday, and it kicks off around about 10 o'clock in the morning. Also as well, Greek Prime Minister Mitsotakis said on Monday during doorstep statements at the EU leaders' extraordinary meeting, the European Union should adopt new, stronger sanctions against Belarus over the diversion of the Ryanair flight at the weekend that was on its way from Vilnius to Athens. Now, he said this would convey the message that such practices cannot and must not be tolerated on the European continent. He also added that the summit has a dense agenda. And again, the Greek Prime Minister noted that we will review the development on fighting the pandemic as well. So they weren't only just talking about the incident of the aircraft that was basically hijacked by the government of Belarus and then obviously flown, where then a activist was then removed from the aircraft and arrested along with 4 other people. But also at that meeting, they've also been discussing the way ahead for the summer, at least anyway, in regards to how we're going to deal with the pandemic as well. He also said he wants, basically, he's still saying, I allow me to express my satisfaction over the agreement between the European institutions on the issue of the new directive regulating the operation of the COVID certificate, which he noted was a Greek initiative. Mitsotakis added that the e-certificate, as they're calling it now, would be speedily implemented and would allow travel of Europeans within the European Union. So the old, shall we say, COVID certificate is not dead yet in the eyes of Greece. They still want that to go ahead within the European Union. Mitsotakis is pushing for that. And again, we will wait and see whether that happens. At the moment, our main worry is to see that Britain is still going to be coming to Greece in the summer, and it clears up and takes us off the orange and puts us onto the green, so that people can obviously come and have their holidays here without having to quarantine when they get home, and do further tests as well to add to the cost of their holiday. Anyway, the Greek government also, in the coming days, their attention is going to be focused on 2 pieces of legislation which are going to be tabled in the Parliament before the end of the month, whose successful passage officials believe will determine whether the ruling Conservatives, that's what the New Democracy Party are, they're the Conservatives, will succeed in pushing through their reformist agenda. Now, one bill concerns the labour market reforms, which they say will introduce greater flexibility in working hours and overtime, while the other is about the assessment of teachers in primary and secondary education not seriously implemented over the past 40 years. Now, both bills have been announced by Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis ahead of the last election in July 2019 as part of his election manifesto. Now, the Greek press is saying that Mitsotakis wants to move on from a crisis management situation, which they reckon he's been running the country, which because of the pandemic has taken up most of his attention and strengthened his credentials as a reformer. The one thing, I don't know too much about the education reforms, but definitely the first bill, which is about offering more flexibility, all right, for employment. This to me sounds like a two-edged sword. It means basically the 8-hour day could go to a 10-hour working day. It would also mean that the unions are going to be undermined as well. And to me, it points to a sliding scale of workers' rights that are going to be overridden by the interests of the employer. And as I'm saying, looking way ahead, deals that's been done with Amazon and big corporations, they want to see a clear playing field where they could issue 0 hours contracts with no involvement of unions, saying to workers, if you want to work for us, you've basically got no rights. And it just seems to me it smacks a little bit of that at the moment. So that'll be something very interesting for us to look at and see how that progresses forward here in Greece, because you've just got to look at the UK as an example and America as an example. A lot of corporations saying they're giving you good jobs when in fact, no, they're not really. You've no protection, 0 hours contracts, no pension rights, nothing of that nature, and not even healthcare in some countries. And it just smacks to me that it's a little bit too far heading towards that road. So again, for a lot of people here, this is going to be of ultimate interest to see where it goes, because a lot of it is in the summer, we already work more than 10 hours, 12 hours quite normally. And again, you just take it as course. So again, we'll wait and see how that all joins out. Right, I've got a rather interesting legal story for you now. This has been making the rounds in the Greek press. The story of a Greek police lieutenant who allegedly destroyed his boss's car in what is thought to be a revenge attack which took place on the island of Rhodes. Now, we all think Zakinthos is pretty crazy, and Crete is also pretty crazy, but Rhodes has it from time to time. Anyway, stunned passers-by recorded a video of a man seemingly taking out his frustrations on the car owned by the police chief, Michaelis Kalorikis, before storming upstairs into the police department. Now, the officer in question had a history of clashing with his boss, according to reports. There have been heated disputes between the two men, which apparently led to the lieutenant being placed into psychiatric evaluation by his superior officer. Many are calling these events the motive for the man's alleged subsequent attack on the police chief's car. Anyway, on this fateful Sunday morning, the Greek police officer drove his 4x4, and I've got to be honest, both of these cars seemed rather expensive, okay, for what does a policeman earn a month, all right? The guy that rammed the other car, the police lieutenant that rammed with his 4x4 the police chief's car was a very nice white Mercedes sports, coupe, was it compressor? And they're not cheap here in Greece. They are not cheap by a long chalk. Anyway, on the video, the police lieutenant rammed the car at least 3 times. And according to eyewitnesses, he then rammed the car, jumped out of the car, with a sledgehammer and then started to bash the front of the windscreen of the car with the sledgehammer. Now, looking at it, it reminded me of Basil Fawlty when he lost his frustration with his little Austin Morris and went and got himself a piece of tree and started to hit the car. It was the same kind of scenario. Now, after he'd started hitting the car with the sledgehammer, he was then seen to run into the police station, up to the office of the police chief with the sledgehammer, and then started to break in his office door. Anyway, other policemen jumped in to stop the man with the sledgehammer. Notably, the policeman was armed. He had his pistol in his holster, and they obviously hurriedly then took the pistol out of his holster just in case things got even further and got even more out of hand than they already were. Anyway, two officers who witnessed the confrontation described the man as out of control. And he was then obviously arrested by his own people and then taken before the prosecutor, where at the moment he's been charged with criminal damage. And obviously there's an investigation going to be going on that as well. So there you go. It all happens on roads as well as happening on Zakinthos from time to time. Although, again, as far as I'm aware, we've not had any policemen attacking their bosses here at the moment. But crazy things happen anyway. So anyway, let's have a quick look, see who's tuning in. Quick shout out to, let's have a look. There's quite a few comments in this morning, which I'm really pleased to see. Tracy Mitchell says, good morning. Julie Meldrum is watching as well. Big shout out to you, Julie. Jerry Coyle is watching. Janet Cooney is watching as well. Catherine Wilson is watching as well. Gosh, wish I was there, she says. Bless them. But take it you're having bad weather at the moment, or you should be over here on a holiday, which has probably been cancelled. Anyway, Catherine Wilson Rumsey is tuning in as well. Paula Chatterton is tuning in. Tracy M. Mitchell is watching. Paula Chatterton says, should have been out first half full day today there. Oh, bless you. So you were supposed to be here. Who were you coming with, Paula? Just let me know. Were you on an EasyJet flight or were you with TUI? Just let us know. I'll just be curious to know which holiday company you should have been coming on holiday with as well. Anyway, Melissa Vickers is watching as well. Catherine Wilson Ramsey, she says, if I was going to die of anything, I'd rather die happy in Zante. Oh, bless you, Carol. Anyway, Steve Hinckley says, good morning, he says, from a very wet and windy Stoke. Oh, bless you, fella. Jerry Coyle says, all right, mate, from another wet and grey Mansfield. Stephen Hendley is watching as well. Mike Glattonley is watching as well. I saw your references today, reference that hopefully the building of the shelter, because again, once again, these proposals that they are putting over here at the moment are just proposals, and technically they've got through the first stage where they've been given due consideration, but again, the island does desperately need a municipality shelter. But as you said, hope it is run properly, and it is run with all good care and diligence as well. But also, it doesn't stop the fact that they still need to be able to rehome animals that are rescued and put into the municipality compound if there is one built, because at the moment there is still problems with trying to get animals to homes outside of Greece, where obviously they can then be sent. But at the moment, again, everything is up in the air with those. And once again, the animal welfare people are still under as much pressure as always, trying to basically cope with those puppies that are dumped, etc., and the animal cruelty that still goes on here, unfortunately, in Greece. Anyway, Steve Henley says, morning, mate. Nice to see Jean Baker tuning in from over there on Kefalonia, tuning in. Nice to have you looking in, my lovely. Peter Atkins is watching as well. Hilary Rogers is watching. Gary Crowder is tuning in as well. Nice to have you. Linda and Gary also tuning in as well. Gary Crowder says, morning, Ginge. Did you like my Eurovision review on your Facebook? I don't think I've seen that yet. I will have a look at that later. To be honest, I haven't seen it, fella, but I will check it out. No worries. Wendy Norcliffe is watching as well. Maurice Hudson says, morning, DJ Ginge from a grey and breezy Blackpool. Oh, I love Blackpool. I used to DJ at Pontins occasionally up there as well, doing corporate team building exercises. Had some great times in Blackpool. Fantastic town. Anyway, Mick Jones is watching as well. Oh, Pontins has gone, by the way. Heather Nash is watching as well. Heather Nash says, good morning to you and Jane from a dry Birmingham for now. Rain due later. I would rather your sunshine. Well, we'll see what we can do. See if we can box a bit up and send it over to you there, Heather. Anyway, you have a good day. David Lismore is saying, good morning. Looks like a lovely day after all that rain. Bless you. Andrew the Fridge Watkins is watching from Wales. Andrew Beetham is watching. John Clifford is watching. Good morning, Colin. Just all it's all is tickety boo. Good. Are you actually managing to get over here? Are you flying via Athens? Just a curiosity note. Pat Patel, my old boss, tuning in as well. Lovely to see you tuning in, Pat. I hope you're keeping well. Taff Blight as well. Another Raffreg buddy tuning in. Morning, Ginge. I hope you are staying safe. I am staying safe, mate. I'm immune, mate. I'm immune. That's as far as I'm going to say. Anyway, Dave Lismore says, really missing my walks around Argosy, carrying on the good work, Mitsotakis. Bless you. There you go. He's got a fan there. Barbara Telfer is watching. Gary Horsfield is watching. He says, morning, Ginge. D. McHugh, he says, morning, Ginge. I don't know what the cops make, but I reckon at the moment it's more than us. Yes, about these supercars that they smash up on each other in roads. It is, if you look at the pictures, the police chief's car was a very nice Mercedes compressor. I thought, what a lovely car. But again, I'm just thinking to myself, how much does a police chief make to be able to afford a car like that? Anyway, just a thought. I'm not saying anything. It's just a thought. All right, he's probably got a rich wife. That could be the answer. Anyway, Larry Smith is watching as well. Ian Booth says, morning. I hope you're feeling good, Ian. I know you're on the mend. Are you still wearing your life jacket? Because at the moment, there's a big thing about wearing life jackets. There are people that want to ban life jackets being worn in the rain. All right, but there are those people that are demanding that life jackets should be worn whenever they like. All right. Those people wondering what I'm gibbering on about, it's the latest thing to do with the woke brigade, all right? And they're now turning it into life jackets. It's a comedy sketch, all right? You'll find it online. Anyway, Barbara Cocker is watching. She says, morning, Ginge. Steve Hodgson is watching as well. He says, hi, Ginge. Just got up. Hope all is well. Yeah, all is good, mate. The sun is shining. The sky is blue. And I've got to clean up the lounge. Boo-hoo. So there you go. Skin Johnson is watching as well. I'm going to give you a big wave. I hope you're feeling well as well, fella. And also Will Bland over there in Kent is also watching as well. Nice having you tuning in, buddy. I hope everything is good in your place as well. Right, that's it from me for today. As I said, lot to do today. Can I just say thank you to those people tuned in yesterday to my dance anthem, my Northern Soul show that got repeated yesterday on beatsradio.co.uk. Both the Dance Anthem show and the Northern Soul show, they are now up online and you can watch those at your leisure. Later today, I shall be making the Northern Soul show and sending that up the line ready for broadcasting this weekend. Very interesting weekend this weekend. We're still waiting to see if Mitsotakis is going to change any restrictions on music in venues, and also the way things are going to proceed, because I know for us at Magdalena's, we're having our opening night on the 29th, which is the Saturday night. Again, we are restricted with no music, no sound in the venue. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Also, when we look at the amount of people that are in resort, it's not a fantastically high number either of Dutch or French or any of the other nations that are here. So we're just going to basically just suck and see how it goes. I will be back to work, working live, doing music as soon as this ban is lifted. But again, at the moment, we're in trepidatious times to see what will happen. And we're hoping that some common sense is going to rule, not only from Greece here, in the fact that you can't run places for holidays, one, with a curfew of 12:30 at night. Please lift that as well, Mr. Takis, because that's not going to help anybody. Certainly not going to help the beach when people wander aimlessly around with nowhere open and nowhere to go. Better they're in the bars, spending money, put some money back in the tills, trying to make up for the money that's been lost over the last few months, and also from last season. And also as well, please get rid of the music ban. It's ridiculous. I also know now they've also got a ban on commentary for live sport in bars, but that still doesn't stop people shouting. They will still shout at a screen even if there's no commentary there. So what is the point? It's not protecting anybody. And the fact is, people to get here on holiday, they've either been vaccinated or they've been tested, and technically they're supposed to be safe. It's getting hot. We're in a bit of a heat wave at the moment, so therefore the virus technically should be struggling to do anything with it at the moment. And even our epidemiology data, you've seen it's dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. 32 cases for May, as opposed to last month, 184 off the top of my head from what I can remember. So please, common sense, let's try and get back to normal. And Boris, still put us back, or put us on the green. We deserve to be on the green. And even if you want to have hotspot islands and places to go, please put us onto the green in that context as well, so that we can have a proper season and not a mishmash of what we had last year. Right, that's it from me. Quick shout out to John Bailey. He says, morning, bro. Also, Sherlock Holmes as well. Nice to see you tuning in, fella. Ex-Rap Reg, buddy. And I will be back again tomorrow. We'll see what happens and see if we're a day closer to opening. Anyway, ta-ra. Catch you later. I'll keep you ear to the ground. Ta-ra.